Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the three-jeweled. I will until this sight of the seas, of all beings, until the heart of enlightenment is of enlightenment is reached. I cling for refuge to the three-jeweled. For
to share. And there you are. Oh my goodness, look at all of these wonderful faces popping up on my screen. I love it. Okay, Josh, can you hear me? Is it okay? Did I do everything right? Can you hear me? Okay, great. Wow, what an incredible couple of weeks that was. It was really so amazing and so precious. Really, you understand why they call the Lamas Rinpoche, which means precious. It's a precious experience that we connected with each other, to see so many wonderful, wonderful friends. There were 32 dancers that came for offering the mandala to Damala. And then we had some wonderful guests like Judy, Carrie's beloved, and my friends Laura and Joel, who are great supporters here on Maui. They flew in just for this event. And then our dear Dharma sister Helen brought three of her students up from Portland to witness the dance. She'd been instrumental in helping us put the costuming ideas together and definitely the masks. Oh, and then there was Makari, our wonderful mask maker person helper, who she was just radiant throughout the entire event. It was incredible. And of course, I've just been home a couple of days, so trying to get everything together to share with you this afternoon, this morning for me, afternoon for most of you, or for some of you, it's early evening. But I think I've got some interesting things. I had been gathering notes before I headed out to the Great Northwest. And I can see that it all goes together, the whole work that we're doing and these things that sort of sparked my attention. I always ask myself, especially when I start an event like this, after I'm in it for about 2 months, why do I do this? There's so much effort involved. It's really, I mean, just getting the dancers, registration, place to stay, zipping around this town. There are just multitudes of details. And now with the masks and the costumes, again, the ante is upped, you might say, for lots of stuff to do. And I wonder, is this a fruitful use of my personal time? What is, why am I doing this? So it's healthy for me to question that, because then I think about all of the events and all of the people that are involved in this and the amount of practice that we're all doing because we're engaged in this event. And I recognize, yes, there's great value in what we're doing here. It's precious what we're doing. And so no matter what it takes, and I have to really acknowledge a couple of faces I see here. Kim, unbelievable the job Kim did in organizing housing for all the dancers and internal transportation and just in general, getting the Saturday and Sunday morning practice place organized. Really, you did so much. So, and I know you probably went through the same question. Why am I doing this? But now we know, right? There's nothing like, it's after the event when we can go, okay, now we know why we're doing this. There's no question why we're doing this. It's incredibly inspiring for all of us. We had a packed audience. Sakya, I don't think we could have fit another body into that room. And everyone was very, very impressed by the presentation. Of course, the room in Sakya alone is impressive, but then to have these 22 magnificent masks, costumes, dancers, expression of Tara's grace and joy, being born out of that mandala was really very impressive sight. And the protectors really did a great job. They were just so strong and confident. No mistakes. I didn't have to worry about them. It was great. In fact, I didn't have to worry about anybody because Miri had organized the masks in such a way, the dancers, she had trained them and oriented them in such a way that there was a great degree of confidence. Of course, it's tricky. Several of them told me they couldn't see because they couldn't wear their glasses. And a couple of them said they couldn't hear because the wigs went over their ears. And so they were basically in this little isolation booth. But what I realized as I heard this report is that this dance, the work that we do together, it has to do with a togetherness. We can't do it alone. Of course, we can dance through the praises by ourselves, but to really engage and offer what we did at the Sakya Monastery 2 weeks ago, it's impossible. You need a group, and you need a group to put the pieces together because it's way beyond just one person. It's certainly way beyond me. I could manage the mandala, attracting the registrants, getting them the preparations. I could certainly organize that, but the rest of it, without help, impossible. So in the mandala itself, when we're dancing, we have to really rely on every kind of cue possible, and we have to communicate with each other really carefully. And this is a metaphor for life. Someone asked me, well, sometimes I feel this way when I don't have a mask on, when I'm just in my life, my ordinary life. Sometimes I feel like I can't, I don't know what to look at. I don't know what I'm hearing. I just sort of don't know what to do. And at those moments, then we need to really know that we have support. We have those who are next to us who can hold out a hand or a word or whatever it's going to take to help us to reorient. So we're very fortunate in this, with this beautiful community of friends, and it's amazing. I'm looking here, I see people from all over the place. It's really fantastic. Our Chilenos, and we have our Brasileiros, and we have from California to to the great Northeast. It's really fantastic to see all of you and to share with all of you. So knowing that, then I'm going to move into the notes that I have gathered, the topic that I want to share with you. But the first thing I want you to do is straighten your back. Take in a deep breath and exhale and let go of all physical tension. Do it a few times, letting go of physical tension. Okay, excellent. The first piece that I want to share with you is from the scientists, because there are the priests of our modern day religion science. And they've been working very hard and very diligently in trying to figure it all out, just like our shamanic priests. Our shamanic priests listen to a certain level of experience, and so do our scientist priests. And this particular group of priests, I think one of my early Zooms, I was talking about a fellow who wrote a book called in the Mystery Shop. And he had experienced, and he was a world-renowned neurologist, and he came to understand that the heart, when we're talking about neurological events, that the heart commands the brain as much as the brain commands the heart. In fact, more so. The heart controls the brain more than the brain controls the heart or any other aspect of our physiology. So he was pointing out in his book that they started to develop methods to call attention to the heart and to see how do we stimulate those neurological impulses. What's actually going on? So this led them into the murky realm of emotions, because it is the emotions that arise in the heart that stimulate the brain. When we know this, then our question, and of course as Dharma practitioners, this question continually arises, okay, these emotions arise. What do I do with them? What happens? How do I deal with them? How can I modify them? How can I change them? How can I use them? Because according to the teachers, and especially Dhamma really caught our attention one year. The person who was my close collaborator, my partner, reported to Dhamma, I have very intense emotions. When these intense emotions arise, I'm out of control. I don't know what to do. Is it possible for me to achieve anything in the practice? And Dhamma said, oh, I like strong emotions, which sort of blew her mind. Who likes strong emotions? And Dhamma said, that means you have more material to work with, because the emotions themselves are electric impulses. She didn't use that word, but that's my translation of what she did say. They are impulses. And these impulses are modified in various ways. And so we don't want to get rid of them, because in fact they enrich us. They can enrich us if we know how to work with them. So the practices, these dharmic practices, are all ways and approach working with the actions of the body, mind, heart. How do we deal with it? So I just introduced you. Of course, many of you, because you've worked with me before, you're familiar with the 9 healing breaths. Well, this group called, what is the name? It was so cute. Heart math. They're doing heart math because they're scientists, and so they got to do the math thing. So, but they have devised these various exercises in order to assist from the heart to the mind influence. Because what they discovered is, if we are afraid, let's see, when, where is it? It was so cute the way they put it, because there are, here, the brain, stressful, negative emotions. These things have a profound effect from the heart. They actually come from the heart. These fears, these distresses, these distortions. Actually, the other piece that I'm going to share with you, which comes from Jetsun Palmo. By the way, thank you so much, Hope, for sending me that link to her meditation discourse. And I will send that to all of you as part of my, those of you who get my notes, that'll be part of the notes that I'll see if I can put it on Facebook too. It's amazing. Her discourse on meditation is amazing, because she, again, is saying, in order to get anywhere, we need to calm down. We need to calm the mind. And the practice of breathing, let's see if I can find those wonderful ways in which she talked about the problems. It was just so cute. Words that, our predilections, our biases, our judgments, our distorted thoughts. All of those, yeah. When we sit down to meditate, they present themselves in all of their glory. But it's not only then, it's constantly during the course of our day-to-day activity that they present themselves. And so the question always is, what do we do about this? What do we do about this? How can we engage in our life with these dharmic understandings, or with these scientific understandings of the fact that we are causing our own physical and mental distress by the emotions arising in our heart? What do we do? How do we deal with it? And so these, and I have here Tenzin Palmo, and over here we've got the heart math guys. And then I did another set for you from Pema Kadro. And then here's another one from Thich Nhat Hanh. All of them say the same thing, that we have to take care of ourselves. And the first thing that we need to do is calm down. And the way that we do it is to become consciously aware of our breath, and to use the breath to let go of tension. This is, it was very interesting. And each one of them, of course, gave their own sort of variation on the theme. But they all said the same thing, that we must take care of ourselves. And caretaking has to do mainly with its body, mind, but it's the heart that is the stimulus of this. We need to really relax into whatever is happening. So Thich Nhat Hanh, he was approached by a student, and the question was, the condition of the world is really upsetting to me. So I find myself constantly upset or crying about the condition of the world. And then this other student said, and I'm in chronic pain, and I find it really difficult to function in chronic pain. What should I do? Well, he gave them both the same answer, which was, of course, he couched it in different ways and used different examples, but basically it was the same thing. Bring yourself to a point of peace and make it important that you take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you are going to find that the irritation that you're cultivating in the heart by these negative emotions or negative feelings or judgments or whatever it is, that this affects the brain, and the brain sends signals throughout the body that can distort your well-being. So the first job you need to do is learn to relax, to let go. Let go of your tension. And this is the easiest way to do it. I mean, for myself, one of the observations of Lama Tenzin, now we're talking almost 40 years ago when I first started working with the Tibetan way. One of the first things he said to me was, "Oh, you're an angry person." And my response was, "What? What do you mean I'm an angry person?" So, right. Okay. So that sort of got my attention. And then over the course of time, he was able to direct my attention to my anger, and I learned how to disarm it. Now, I didn't really have to put it into effect until some years later, but about 10, 12 years later, I was in a situation which was chronically stimulating my anger. And I remembered the teachings that Lama Tenzin had given me. So what I decided to do was, first of all, when the Lockhorn situation with my friend started happening, I would say to myself, it takes two to fight. I'm stepping out of this. So internally, I would stop talking and start breathing, concentrating on my breath, and notice how much tension I had in my body. So I would continually tell myself, breathe out tension, breathe in light, breathe out tension. So while the other person was carrying on, I was preparing myself to really hear what was behind the stress or the distress. Now, I can't do this all the time, but it was a big wake up for me to know that we can do this whenever, no matter what's going on, how intense the situation is, how unpleasant the situation is, that we can always take a step back, tune into our breath, and let go of tension, and then ask, what is the most compassionate thing here? What is this person really asking? Because we know, or we should know, or I'm going to tell you so that then you will know, that all anger comes from someone challenging our sense of self. And we are grasping onto our identity with both, as tight as we can, and resisting whatever it is that they're saying that challenges it. So our own reaction has to do with our own grasping. Now, this is where the Buddha said, here's your problem. When we looked at the Four Noble Truths, what is the cause of all of this? The cause of all of this is grasping onto an identity and pushing away anything that threatens it. What is the cause of that? It's the basic ignorance of not seeing that we are infinitely interconnected. So think about that. As your aggression starts to arise, you realize this is what's going on for that person as well as me. In other words, it's a primordial event that's stimulating the anger. So we don't need to, we're not solving anything by fighting. It doesn't solve anything. If you ask yourself, what do I want? You're never going to get whatever it is that you want by fighting with this person. It's simply not going to happen. So basically, you know that you yourself are causing agitation in your heart, which communicates to your brain, which moves throughout the body, stimulating stress hormones. Useless. You know that that's useless, because that kind of activity, according to our priests, our scientists, is what is the cause of most of our disease. Most of our disturbance is caused by that kind of action. So it's in our best interest. It's absolutely essential that we look at this and we devise some strategy to be able to disarm our own feelings and to understand that the person across from us is in the same degree of confusion. They're attacking because they're afraid that we're taking something away from them that they identify with, which is basically stimulated from a sense of separation. So they are in panic. Now, if your heart opens, this is where compassion happens, because you've already gone, and of course I encourage you to do this in your practice, to do this in your, before you go to sleep or when you wake up, but to look at your own heart and see, what am I grasping onto? What am I pushing away? Where is my sense of separation? How can I let go of this, and to see how difficult it is, and to generate compassion for yourself, to tell yourself, yes, this is difficult. It is not easy to be a compassionate human being in this world, but it is obvious that if I can do this, then I can be compassionate with everybody. If I can deal with my own intense emotions, my own intense confusion, my own intense rejection of others, if I can deal with that, then I can certainly understand what's going on when there are people who disturb me and distress me, because the distress is mine, and they don't know that. And they don't know that, because if they continue to be aggressive, you know that they're lost. They're lost in it. They think that they're going to get somewhere by this behavior. What do they want? What do they really want? This is the question we all have to face. What do we really want? We want to feel connected. We want to feel appreciated. We want to love and be loved. We want to enjoy the beauty around us. We want to create beauty around us. And it's important. And if we're not doing that, how distressing that is. How absolutely unfortunate that is. And that's when that compassion arises, that suffuses our brain. It pours into our brain, and our whole body aligns in a way in order to give that individual whatever it is that they need, to the degree that we have it. Sometimes we don't have what they need, but certainly they don't need another person pushing against them. Now, of course, what I'm saying is somewhat simplistic. So look at it, check it out, pay attention as you move through your day to day. Where is your mind? What is it doing? What are the concepts that it's engaged in? When it's pleasureful, enjoy the pleasure and share the pleasure. Think, I am a radiant light being, and I'm capable of infinite pleasure and joy. And I wish this upon all other beings. If they don't know that they have this capacity, this beautiful flower, this beautiful environment, I wish that everyone could experience this and send it to them. Send it to them. Imagine that your pictures, your image, your love goes out to the world. This increases the capacity of the heart, sending the brain the signals that it needs to be as wholesome as possible. Now, listening to, okay, so let's do this again. Sit with your back straight. Breathe, take in some deep breaths, and on exhale, let go of tension. Spine is straight. Try a little revolution of the shoulders. Bring your shoulders forward, up, and back, and down, and relax. Breathe. And breathe out any tension. It doesn't matter what it is. Don't even try to figure it out. Just breathe it out. Feel your shoulders relax, your chest relax, your belly relax, your arms relax, your face relax. Keep breathing in this way. Gentle inhale, gentle exhale. Okay. Now, take note of how you feel. And also, take note that that didn't even take. So, do it often. Do it all the time. Do it when you're at the sink and you feel that your back hurts. Do it when you're sitting listening to the neighbors argue. Whatever is happening, tune into your breath and let it go. Tune into your breath and let it go. Now, one of the things that was really quite charming to me, in this talk of Tenzin Palmo that I was listening to, is she was saying, when you look at the mind as you breathe, because once you do the 9 healing breaths, then I invite you to relax into the infinite spaciousness of your own mind. When that occurs, the dualistic sense of the mind looking at itself fades, and it just becomes pure awareness. When that occurs, the mind becomes mirror-like. You see everything very clearly. You see all the interconnectedness. You see everything very clearly. But you also see into the depth of the mind. You see exactly how the mind is constructed, how it constructs itself, which impulses. And if you can rest there, then insight arises. So our preparations, now I'm going to take you back to the Tara dance and the events that we accomplished and so forth, but mostly the dance, because we're very occupied in this level of teaching and training. One of the preparations that I asked our dancers to do, this was months before we met in Seattle in September. I think we started in July, towards the end of July. I asked them to engage in the practice, either sitting or walking, but to listen to all the words of the dance. And to concentrate on the what it was that they had to offer. If it was a masked dancer, their praise. And if it was a protector, then it was the qualities of Tara, to really concentrate on these. Now, this is the quality that Tibetans, in their Tibetan Buddhists, the lamas are constantly inviting us and reminding us, practice, practice, practice. In other words, if we want to change the nature of our mental events, of our experience, of our emotional life, if we want to change it, we have to really do something about it. Because otherwise, as our dear Tenzin Palmo reminded us, the mind is like a wild horse. It's so powerful and so strong, we cannot get a hold of it. We can't do anything with it. We can barely even befriend it, because it's way bigger than us and way stronger than us. But in fact, with practice, we discover that we can definitely befriend the mind, and that it can be a useful servant in the sense that our persona, our personality, that there is a way to work with it so that when it's time for it to step back and allow us to merge with the infinite nature of our mind, it isn't afraid. Because a lot of um, resistance and our hesitation to events, to being able to come to terms with our emotions, a lot of this, it has to do with our fear of losing sight of who we are. Now, according to the teachings, that limits us, that confines us to what we call a dualistic situation, a dualistic way of being without connection to our universal state of mind. Because being has the capacity to understand they have body going on, body and speech, these are dualistic. They have mind which engages with body and speech, but also is infinite in its nature and infinite openness, all things arising within it. So understanding those things, we want to be able to really see it and to use it, to utilize it, so that when we're engaged in life, we are engaged from a holistic place. And when we talk about that, we're talking about the integration of these dimensions of consciousness that are our birthright, but that we are unaware of the fact that we actually can engage with them. Now, the word control makes me a little nervous because I was someone who, there was something too confining about that word. It's not so much that we want to control our mind or control anything, but we do want to have a holistic experience. And we do, when we touch into the basic nature of our infinite connectivity, when we touch into that, then we know that wherever we see stress, wherever we feel stress, wherever we feel pain, that our engagement is to work with this, to deal with this. So first there's our personal pain. What do we do when we have personal pain? Now, Thich Nhat Hanh gave a beautiful talk about this, beautiful description. He said, what happens when you are in pain is you engage, you start to try to push it away. When you do that, you are actually increasing the degree of pain, pushing it away, wishing for it to stop, that this is not going to solve the issue of pain. It only increases it. And the more you push and the more you reject, the more painful it becomes. He points out the only way to really deal with pain is to let go of tension, to actively let go of tension. So here we are again, back with our 9 healing breaths. Whenever pain arises, whenever physical distress arises, go there. Remove your resistance. Another really good practice that I recommend is the practice of Vajrasattva, as we have assembled it on the Bhava recording. For those of you who have it, and if you don't, I really recommend that you download this recording, because it helps us to let go. We need to be able to let go, and we need to be able to focus the mind on letting go so that it becomes a natural experience, so that automatically when the body-mind starts to tense up around pain, our reaction is not to reject it, but to let go of any tension that surrounds it. Yeah, okay, I finally got there. I know that there's so much that I offered. I thought, what am I going to talk about? Okay, so what to do about the world suffering? Well, according to Thich Nhat Hanh, stop suffering ourselves. In other words, become peaceful, loving, and joyful, so that as we move through the world, we are an inspiration to the world from to the degree of our peace and our joy. And he said, of course, we cannot necessarily change the conditions, but we certainly will change the atmosphere around us. And this atmosphere is infectious. It will spread. So all we have to do is calm ourselves down, be peaceful, be loving. And then when you encounter people in your day-to-day life, you're in the shopping line or you're in your car driving or whatever it is, there are going to be plenty of opportunities of demonstrating your equanimity. And the demonstration of equanimity allows you, enables you to demonstrate to others that it is possible. So eventually they recognize, it will play on their screen, it will pop up on their screen, the actual experience of can do this, I can do this. Okay, so let's see, what else do I have here? Yes, that Thich Nhat Hanh, this is really wonderful. Yes. If he says, if you get angry and revolt against your pain, if you worry too much and imagine things are getting worse, then the pain multiplies. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Non-functional. So that was really lovely. Okay, then here's another practice that I would like you to engage. Now, this is in one of the higher yoga tantras, but because Pema Kadro Rinpoche, I don't know Pema Kadro, but sounds like somebody I might want to meet. Her talk was really exquisite. And so she was saying, at essence, we have the enlightened nature. And because of this, we need to remember we must, first of all, be kind to ourselves. We must honor ourselves. And so she recommends when you're eating, you think, I'm nourishing Tara. I'm nourishing this precious being. Or if you know Tara, Chenrezig, or Buddha, or whoever, but the idea is that you are nourishing an awakened being. So think about that. That's why when we do our prayer, manifesting as the goddess, we start there. We start with this understanding that we, as Tara, are receiving this food. She also goes on to remind us about this incredible practice. There are several of them. The Guya Samaj is one that I remember. That close your eyes for a moment and imagine every cell of your body is an enlightened being. And they're all holding hands, they're communicating, they're happy, every cell in your body. So just sort of sweep through your body and think about all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in your eyes and in your nose and in your cheeks and in your mouth and in your throat and in your chest and in your arms and in your fingers and in your fingernails, in your heart, in your belly, in your hips, in your thighs, in your calves, in your feet, in your toenails. Every single cell and pore of your body is a divine, enlightened light being. And they're all so happy to be acknowledged. So now imagine as you breathe in, you're feeding all of these light beings radiance. And as you breathe out, you're breathing out their love to the world. Breathing in radiance, breathing out love. Breathing in radiance, breathing out love. Okay, so dear ones, this also only takes a nanosecond. How do you feel? Especially tune into all those radiant light beings in your heart. Feel how happy they are to be able to share their light with the world in this way. So I think it's important for us to be able to do these small things. The great meditation master, Urgen Tuku, when he was teaching Dzogchen Mahamudra, he said, don't worry about the big aha. He said, small meditations. Just stop for a moment. Recognize everything interconnected. I am part of this great interconnected web. In my heart is love for all the beings. In my heart, made up of infinite numbers of light beings, constantly radiating my love and light into the world. We can do this. We can certainly do this. So it's not only the efforts that we make when we come together to the dance or when we sit in practice, although I wanted to mention something about that as well. The value of these intense practice sessions, like, when we danced for Dhamala, let's face it, we started out early in the day, and some of you were sitting in those masks for an hour, which I honor. I totally respect that you were able to have the capacity to do this. And then, of course, those of you who were not there didn't know that we had to bring them from downstairs upstairs, not only with the masks, but with these long skirts and costumes. And it was, I couldn't believe it, but they did it. Everyone did it. Everyone did every part of it. And so that concentration, we continued that concentration until we completed the dance. So I would say it was about 4 hours. Concentrated activity in manifesting Tara's enlightened mind, the essence of who we are. That is totally transformative, totally transformative. So, yes, I wanted to say a few more things about our wonderful time with Dhamala, because she said some really important things. One of them was every expression of the enlightened feminine in whatever body we see is an aspect of Tara's radiance. That, yes, it is, she didn't mention this, but I will say it now. She is thought to be an emanation of white Tara. And it's true. She is a very awakened being. She's quite a remarkable being. And she does have access into other realms of consciousness. She really has demonstrated that to us a number of times. So, but what she was saying is that anytime we see that enlightened activity of Tara, wherever we see it, that is the enlightened feminine. Tara is just a name we place on it. It's not the name. The name is an indicator, just like any name is. We indicate it is the enlightened feminine nature present in all dimensions of consciousness. It is the capacity of radiant wisdom coupled with infinite compassion to be skillful in all dimensions of consciousness. So, in order to stimulate this, then the other thing that she said that also reminds me of what the point I'm trying to get at. At one point, Makari was sitting close to her, and of course she had really put in a tremendous amount of effort in creating these masks. And she was just going back to her seat, and Dhamala took her hand and said to her, "You have no idea the amount of merit generated by this." Now, that was her talking to Makari, but in fact, she was talking to all of us. That by engaging in these kinds of activities, by continually being willing to sacrifice our own comfort and whatever it takes in order to get us to that point where we can make an offering that stimulates within ourselves, and within, in that case, we had an audience of almost 50 people. I think it was 50, 60 people that were in the audience. When we can stimulate the radiance of wisdom and compassion in everyone, when we can orient this, when we can direct it towards the healing of our world, that tremendous merit, tremendous energy becomes available to us. in order to continue our beautiful journey towards awakened mind. Yes, so that's my rambling. So now I want to share some other sort of stuff. Well, let's see. Did I do everything? I've got, yeah, that was Prema. We talked about the brain mind, and we talked about Jetson Pamo. We'll be talking about more about her later. I'll tell you. That was really wonderful. Okay, so and Thich Nhat Hanh, great. So that takes us to announcements. So I wanted to show you all something because it is so precious, this, and it was given to all of us. But to give you an idea of the lengths to which the Tibetans go to focus the mind on benevolent activity, to inspire others. So if you can see this little box here, this cute little box. Now, all of you who were dancing received one of these, right? So Damala gave this to all of us with a kata. And then opening up this little box, you see, is a little plastic bag. Okay, is this fun? I hope this is fun for you. It's fun. Open up this little plastic bag. I mean, this little plastic bag had to be made for this particular event. Okay, and out pops this. So inside we have prayers. Okay. Now I would need a magnifying glass to be able to see this. But this is Damala's husband, Dagchen Rinpoche. He died recently, a few years ago. And in the Tibetan tradition, he was cremated. They took him to India, where he had requested to be cremated, and his ashes were distributed. And then she also described to us when she met with us on Monday, which was an amazing, wonderful, precious event of her just sitting there with our group to share her thoughts and feelings. So there was the bone crusher. And so whatever didn't burn, the bones got crushed and everything got mixed up. And then she took some of that and took it back home, and tons of prayers, many prayers, mixed it with clay and all kinds of wonderful things. For 2 years, they worked on this to create these little tiny, they're called tsatsa. Tsatsa is a common activity of the Tibetans. Very often when a great being dies, some of their remains are placed in the mortar, and then a little bit of that is saved, and that will continue. They'll continue to make tsatsas for as long as the tradition exists. So she said it was painted with gold. She said it was very difficult to paint. She did it too, and created these special offerings. So I will put it on my shrine in the name of all of us. And so when prayers get made and when anyone does practice in the shrine, this energy will be added to it. Because Dr. Rinpoche was a great being. He was really amazing. He was one of the first lamas, Rinpoches, high lamas, that was brought to America with his family. At that time, Damala and 4 little boys. And another one was born in America. So they were the first Tibetan family to actually engage. And that way he taught Tibetan studies at the university there in Seattle. And he built this monastery. I know that I sent the link to the story of the building of the monastery to all of those who were engaged in practice. But I'll try to remember, if Josh reminds me, I'll try to remember to put it on Facebook to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to see what great dedication it took to build this temple. We started teaching Tara there, I don't know, Julia would know, I think it was 98 or 97 or something, 89, no, not there, when it was just an empty shell. And over the years, the dances happened almost every year there. It's really precious. Okay, so here's the news. That's part of the news. That was really good. So Portland was fantastic. We celebrated Prajal's 50th birthday. So Prajal, I met Prajal, he was 16, translating for me and his father, because I was studying the Newar dance of the Vajrayana in Kathmandu. And he was 16, he spoke English, and he translated, and now he's the high priest in Portland. So it was really fun. We arrived on his birthday, Midi and I. Big party, big tamash. They made him two cakes to represent 25 years each. And it was really fun. And then we did our event, our offering the next evening. And for the first time, we taught the new red Tara dance. So outside of the islands, I know that we taught it in Kauai also. So go to the website, Dance the Goddess, download it, get used to the music. And what Miri has promised me is we're actually going to have classes online so that we can get everybody dancing to Red Tara, because this particular Red Tara has to do with attracting whatever it is that we need, magnetizing whatever we need in order to help us to overcome our distortions, whatever they may be, and to gather the energy and the power to really be able to share our loving compassion with the world. So it's really a precious activity. I really encourage. And she also is an assistant, you might say. Part of her mission is to help us to work with desire, the elements of desire, to enjoy our desire and to be able to use it in ways that are, it's called discriminating awareness. In other words, to know when the desire brings benefit and when it doesn't. So you want her on your team. Yeah, Red Tara. Okay, what else? So that was Portland. And then, of course, I've talked enough about, I don't know what else I can tell you, except it was wonderful in Seattle. And then Orcas was really, really sweet, because Julia had gotten a beautiful home for Miri and I and Noel, because it was intense for the three of us. We did it, and we relaxed, and there was a whole gang that came to enjoy with us. We took one little walk in the forest with them, with our dear Claire, who I see, there she is, collecting mushrooms. Well, it was fascinating. Things that we would have never seen them. That girl has really eagle eyes. That was fun. Okay, and that brings us back. Now I'm in Maui and Miri is in Brazil, and she's getting ready to do her many multiples of things. So first of all, Miri, are you going to Chile? Just nod your head yes if you are, Miri. Yeah. I know many of you have been concerned and have communicated your concern. Conditions in Chile are a little difficult right now. There's quite a bit of protest going on, and the government is resisting the protesters. It's a bit of a hot spot. But it seems like our Chilenos are assuring Miri that she will be safe. They're going to take care of her. Yep, I just got the thumbs up from Valentina over here. Yeah. So she is going to go and engage in this retreat. It's outside of Santiago, a beautiful retreat center in honor of the Divine Feminine, October 31st to November 3rd. So if you want to join, I understand that there's 2 spaces available now, right? Because we had 2 people cancel? Or how is it looking, Valentina? Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, contact Miri. She'll let you know all about it. And then Parvati, our beloved Parvati, she and Miri led the mask mandala. Miri was the one who oriented the masked dancers and got them all capable of dancing in the mandala, and they did a fabulous job. And Parvati was kind enough to be Tara number 0. She was, and it was so precious because, of course, she's been she's been in charge of the dances uh, because Damala had requested that every year the Tara dance be offered at the Sakya monastery, and Parvati has been the one who's been willing to do it. I haven't been available myself, and I'm delighted. So it was really sweet to have her be the central Tara, and of course, it's so helpful to have someone who knows their way around leading a group of 22 dancers who can barely see and barely hear. It's really remarkable. Okay, then Miri will be offering a Tara mandala in full costume in Guarapari. Isn't that a beautiful word, Guarapari? That's up in the northeast of Brazil, and a really lovely group has been gathering there. That's November 7th through 10th. Oh, and then I didn't tell you, okay, in Phoenix, try to go to this because they do it every year, November 8th through 10th. I know that Carrie has been working diligently on putting the pieces together there for the Phoenix event. And they love having folks come from out of town and can often find you a nice, cozy little place to stay. And so I really want to encourage that. Yep. So that is that. Then November 30th and December 1st, Miri and a group of South American Tara dancers will offer a performance in Brasilia called Dancing the Faces of the Enlightened Feminine. So this is going to feature some solo performances and also of one of our main students, Vesta, who have been studying the traditional dances of the Divine Feminine, some that I had to offer and some from the Charya tradition. And then Costa Rica. I know that our divine Jasmine is heading back there, and Adrienne Labray Smith has been invited to teach from December 28th through the 30th in Costa Rica. So this is on, all of this information is on the website, so taradatu.org or taradatu.net, and you can orient it, or if you have any problems at all, you can write to me and I'll give you whatever you need. So now my schedule for next year. First of all, here on Maui, I'm going to try to do at least full moon and probably full moon and new moon until I leave at the end of February. So then on the way, I'm not exactly sure because so far I haven't secured anything for the States. Let's see. I wrote it. Oh, yeah. Okay. So on the way out, possible is Bay Area, California, Austin, Texas, and maybe Gainesville, Florida. But I'm not sure about, none of this has been secured. So I don't know. But definitely I'm going to Brazil because all of that is secured. On the way back from Brazil with Miri and I, we have the possibilities of upstate New York, which our dear Amber is working out, and a possibility of Ohio. Nita Rose has been interested in that. Denver, another possibility. Gina Harris has mentioned she wants us there. And again, the Bay Area. The problem with the Bay Area, I just need to let you all know, and you can put the word out, is that the places that I normally stay, my dearly beloveds there all have other situations and I won't be able to stay there. So we have to sort of start with that. Where am I going to stay when I go to the Bay Area? Otherwise, possible I could just go anywhere on the West Coast. So I could also pop up to Portland or down to Southern California or who knows. Anyway, that's beginning March. Okay, then I am negotiating with Anam Thupten Rinpoche's organizer to see if he would like us to offer something for him in his beautiful, sweet Dakini temple, preferably in July, but possible March. Okay, then Brazil. Miri and I will be traveling and teaching in Floripa, Natal, Fortaleza, and Caxias. So if you're interested in that schedule, contact Miri. Ecuador is shaping up beautifully. So we'll be arriving in Quito, where it's Easter, And so there's a lot of celebration going on. Oh, Miri's not here to tell me to drink. Oh no, what am I going to do? Then we're going to offer the Tara dance in Cuenca, and we're going to offer it in both English and in Spanish, which should be fun. And then we're going to go to a place called Vilcabamba, which I love that name. So, Vilcabamba. Anyway, this place is said to have the best air and water in the world. So we're going to go and sniff some of that. It looks like a very beautiful adventure. A lot of interesting shamanic types hanging out in that area. Our annual South American retreat is May 23rd through 30th. And just a little side note for those of us who are dealing in American dollars, because the Brazilian real is so weak against the dollar, it's a week of everything for under $500. It's an incredible deal. So we would love to have you join us because it is so magnificent. We'll be at Paraíso na Terra again, Paradise on Earth. And yeah, come. And then the Tara Dance Retreat in Sotramalione. I just received a note from them to say that our dance has been published in their publication. And so I do want to invite you all. That's the 23rd through the 28th of September. Then a couple of other little newsy notes, which is a number of my dear ones, connections that I have been talking about Bhutan again. And it appears that there is a dance festival in 2021. So I'm going to see if I can negotiate our way into dancing Tara in Bhutan. And especially with the masks, we certainly want to share the masks with these great masked dancers over there. And then Miri has said we're going to do another Munlam. So it will either be, if we don't go to Bhutan, it will be 2021. And if we do, it'll be 2020. Ta-da! I did it. I managed to make it till 12:12. And I'm really so delighted to see all your beautiful faces. I'm going to ask you all to unmute yourselves and tell me, are there any questions? Is there anything that anyone would like to ask or would like to share? And Joshua, you're going to... Okay, I don't see any hands raised or... Okay.
Here's Kim. I have something.
Kim. Okay.
I just wanted to show that I received the gift box, and,
Yes.
and my coin has Dachen Rinpoche's face on it instead of Dhatu's, instead of Tara's face. And yours,
my goodness.
Yours had the Tara on it, right?
I don't know. I didn't receive a coin, I don't think.
Well, what was in your little plastic bag?
It's Tata.
Tata.
You got a special one.
I guess.
Yeah.
I thought Jasmine.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I thought Jasmine
Yep.
had a coin with Tara on it.
I don't know. Jasmine, are you present?
No, she's not on.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, obviously there were other little gifts in the box. Damala was so adorable. She actually, we had arranged to take her to lunch on Monday. And she told us where her favorite place was. We were going to go to a Chinese restaurant that had this incredible buffet. And so we had everybody pay in advance, so it would be easy for us to just give them the money and we would go in. So after we collected all the money, Damala, she didn't know about that. And she announced to the group, I'm taking you all to lunch. So I went to her afterwards and I said, but Damala, they've already paid for lunch. She said, oh, take that money and put it towards the costumes. Put it towards supporting the dance. I'm taking everybody to lunch. So in case you didn't know, that $15 that you gave me for your lunch actually went to pay off some of what we owe our wonderful costume creator there, because we're at least paying for the materials. We haven't even begun to put a dent in paying her for the amount of hours she spent on making those costumes. But anyway, so that's quite cute, Kim. Thanks. Anyone else have something they would like to share or to say to our gorgeous group of Taras here? Any questions about anything that I have discussed?
Kiri asked in the chat panel, do we need to register for the workshop at Soltram Alion's place with that group?
Yes, you do. And I'm going to call them tomorrow and find out exactly what the arrangements are. According to what I understood, and I spoke with her over a year ago, you will be paying them for residency, and they'll give a very small offering to the teachers, and they expect that the students will pay Dana directly to the teachers to cover all of their expenses. So meaning my airfare, and also it will be myself and Miri, and definitely our Noel for the costuming. I think that they said I could take 3. If I could take 4, then it would be Parvati as well. But at least 3 to orient towards what we're trying to do, because I want to dance there in the masks and also not in the masks, because they're 2 completely different experiences. I've been very happy to receive some feedback from the different dancers about their experience in the mask. Some were totally thrilled and had tremendous experiences that assisted them in their Tara practice. Some much prefer dancing without a mask. So I think that I want to offer both options at Soltram, so you can consider that. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, Noelle, what you got to say there, darling?
Well, Lori asked me to pass on a request for prayers for everyone in Sonoma County right now because of there's a big fire burning just in the north of the county, and they've actually, Lori's evacuated down to San Francisco, and Ursula's town is also evacuated. There's like all 3 towns north and west of Santa Rosa are under mandatory evacuation out of concern for the fire that's happening and the high winds that are happening. So if we could just hold that area in our prayers, then that would be awesome.
Okay, so everybody take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, imagine your loving compassion going to Northern California and bringing in the rain and helping to stop the fires. Do a few of those. Thank you, Noelle. There's one other thing that I wanted to share, because a number of our Tara dancers have requested and asked me repeatedly about Elizabeth. And because I know that Damala sees into other realms, I asked her when she finished giving her empowerment, if she could comment about Elizabeth. And I gave her some beads that Elizabeth had given me. And she held the beads and she said immediately, she's alive. Don't interfere. Keep her in your prayers. So that was the word from a very, very awakened being. So I would like us again, let's do the same 3 breaths for Elizabeth. So breathing in vitality, and breathing out our loving compassion, giving her whatever it is that she needs at this time. Thank you so much, dear ones. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anything else anybody wants to ask or say, or anyone want to speak a little bit about how they felt with in their event, in the September event? Don't be shy. Come on.
Prema, can I say something?
Yes, of course. Valentina.
Yeah, I'm gonna try with my English, okay?
It's okay.
I just want to tell you that it's been quite a journey here in Chile these past weeks, and that the decision that we made that the retreat is gonna still be, is gonna happen, and that Miri is gonna came to Chile, and all of that. I think that is just because all the confidence and the motivation that the Chilean practitioners of Tara had, because they all say at the same time, yes, we have to do this. And it's been amazing, but it's been hard for us. The four organizations, las organizadoras. And
The organizer.
yes, so we ask you to pray and connect with the retreat, because it's gonna be so wonderful. I'm feeling it. So that's all.
Thank you, Valentina. Thank you. Absolutely, I want to invite everyone to keep Chile in your heart and mind. It's really very sad what's going on, to have such a degree of violence in the streets, and you know, of course, people get frustrated, and it's the Rahu effect, as the astrologers would tell us. But nonetheless, these are real people suffering in very real ways. So, and Media, I congratulate you for being so brave to do this. I told Media, it reminds me of our pilgrimage in 2001. Our pilgrimage started in October, and of course 9/11 2001 was when the Twin Towers went down. And so a significant amount of women were, decided not to go, but an even bigger number decided to go. And one of the things that they told me was, it is terrorists, it is people who want to strike terror that are engaged in this kind of activity. If we allow them to stop our prayers, if we allow them to stop us, then they won the battle. They have terrorized us. So we're not going to be terrorized by this. But at any rate, so I invite everybody, again, take in a deep breath and send out your love and support to Chile and to Miri and to this retreat, that it can successfully inspire the beautiful women that have engaged and that will go and that will attend. May Miri travel safely. May they all travel safely to the retreat center and be held in Tara's love and compassion. Thank you, Valentina, for sharing. Yeah? Okay, anybody else have something they would like to say, something they would like to share with the group? Come on, somebody who is there, somebody who is in Seattle. I see you. Okay, Hope, are you ready to say something? Okay.
Sure, happy to. For me, it was one of the most extraordinary experiences. I mean, I had been working with the distributor of wealth for a couple months before going, and then there was just a lot of things happening in my personal life, so I wanted to be sure that she was covered, so I let it go to someone else. And so but even just in that preparation, and I honestly hadn't been dancing her, but I'd been experiencing the daily practice and connection to her energy, the medicine that she brings. And like, my life has been transformed by making that conscious relationship with the distributor of wealth over the couple months that I was working with her. And then when I came to the retreat, I was a protector, which was amazing and powerful. And I also got to see in action the masked dancers and the whole situation, which was, I mean, it was like, I do this Tara practice every day, and here they were in front of me, the full mandala, alive and active. And then, as you know, last minute, unfortunately, Donna was not able to dance, so I had 24 hours to prepare myself as in the Tara of sublime intelligence. And at first I was like, oh, how to do that. And then actually Makari gave me an incredible instruction. She said, when you go to bed tonight, ask Tara to place the mask on your face. So that night, the night before we gave the offering, I honestly journeyed with that mask or that Tara all night long. And I had a major breakthrough in my own journey of, well, that Tara was a perfect struggle with, which is a sense of duality. And I had kind of like a Mahamudra experience. I mean, it was extraordinary. And I realized, like, I didn't sleep. I was just in some like altered state the night. And I was like, oh, at some point I should have given the mask back to Tara. But anyway, it really informed my experience, so that when it was time to dance with the mask, as soon as the mask was put on my face, I was that Tara completely, and experienced, yeah. And so that is now informing my everyday life, because it was an experience for me of having at least some period of time of feeling, what is it like to make contact with ultimate and relative reality at the same time, or oneness and the suffering of everyday life. Because I've been really experiencing these last few months having a harder time than usual, being with the level of suffering that I witness and bear witness to in the world. And so I feel like this is both invited me to connect, really bring the dance into my daily practice in a way that I hadn't been before. And also it just is given me a way to be in relationship to what's going on in the world, and also a deeper, stronger connection to Tara. So thank you for that incredible opportunity. Superb. Yeah.
Yay. Thank you
Yay.
for sharing, Hope. Thank you. Thank you. And I see, Nicolette, did you have your hand up? Yes? No?
Yeah, you can hear me? No,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. Am I there?
Yeah.
I'm on the phone because the video's not coming through. But what I wanted to share was how powerful it was to listen to the mandala every day from what I pointed out. And I still do that. I am so appreciative that you were able to condense it into less than 10 minutes. So I'm very impressed with that, but it is such a powerful tool, and I continue the practice. But I was just amazed that when the Taras, we got to the temple, we were all there, and we were able to dance the mandala. We didn't have to discuss it. And then, of course, Miri was amazing with allowing us to embrace our Tara and the mask. It is very challenging dancing with the mask. And other Taras will share, Prema has sent out a request. But I guess what I want to share is how powerful it was to prepare a month or so in advance to really meditate on the praise. I was remover of sorrow. And because of that commitment, when we arrived on Friday, we were able to give our whole concentration to Mary. And again, it is utterly amazing that people who have never danced in a mask before were dancing in a mask within hours. So that is miraculous in and of itself, but it also speaks to the level of commitment of everyone who is involved in this offering. And anyways, okay, that's what I wanted to say, is that the level of commitment, and as Dhamala says, the amount of merit that was generated, I have no comprehension of that. But because, you know, I am who I am and Dhamala is who she is, and I totally trust Dhamala, and it makes me feel good inside to know that our mandala and our commitment generated merit. And that's, the other thing is the Sakya Monastery is incredible. If you ever have the opportunity to come and dance the mandala in Sakya, please do so. I've been fortunate to do it for the past, 4 or 5 years. And it is such a welcoming place. And Dhamala is such a benevolent being. And it is, it's such a blessing to me. And it really supports me through the year. Because as Hope says, our world is challenging. And when we have this intense practice for a weekend, it seeps into our cells, and it allows us to remember that we are Tara, and that we can emulate her love, her compassion. So I'm done.
Well done, Nicolette. That's wonderful. I really appreciate hearing from you. Okay, darlings. Well, it's 12:32. Oh, Elaine, would you like to say something? Yes, we'd love to hear from you. Wait, can you unmute Elaine, Josh?
Yeah, I just unmuted just then. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything quite as profound to say as the last two people, but my experience was I didn't know that I was going to be able to do this until the last minute, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't get to dance in a mask. Part of the reason is I love doing Dharma Protector. And this, I had never done it before. Well, that's not true. I'd never done it before in the United States with this many people. I think there were like 10 of us. And the energy of being on either side of the mandala, doing the protectors and seeing directly across from you another protector and the mandala in the middle, it was just a very, it felt very strong. It felt like we were really, the container for the mandala, and it was beautiful. I guess the other things I would say about it is that, an excuse to practice. The fact that, before in preparation, even when I wasn't sure I'd be there, I did start the practice to do regularly Tara practices, and that was really beneficial. And of course, since that experience, that's kind of continued. That's always good. And one moment that was really interesting that I didn't expect was when we were waiting to go upstairs to do the mandala, just sitting around, sitting in chairs with the dancers in masks. So you're sitting there, there's, you know, all these people sitting in with their Tara faces, you know, just kind of doing their own meditation and their own concentration to prepare for the dance. And you're sitting among them. And that was just a great energy. It was, I didn't expect to be moved the way I was with that. It was like, yeah, I don't know, sitting among Taras. It reminded me maybe of what the reality is, you know, that I'm always sitting among Taras. So I just want to thank you and everybody who was involved in that. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned 2001 as well, because I remember being in the airport in Seattle with soldiers with their guns walking in formation through the airport. And I was like, wow, this is intense. Everything at that time was intense. And I'm glad you remind us that, you know, with the intensity going on everywhere, you know, particularly in various places in South America right now, that's why we practice. That's why I can practice and I can keep that in mind. So yeah, thanks. Good to see y'all.
Thanks, Elaine. I think that's another book, Sitting Among Taras. What a great title for a book. Beautiful. Okay, darlings. So, oh, and Claire, you'd like to say something? Yeah, sure. Wait. We need to. There we go. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah. Go.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hello, Prema. I just want to continue on from what Elaine was saying, the power of being in the waiting room downstairs, in the green room with the Taras waiting for us to dance. And two things happened that enabled us to create such wonderful energy, as well as having the masks and the beautiful costumes on. One, that time downstairs, very sacred and still and meditative. And so we did that day. And secondly, Parvati put on the music to guide us in our meditations. And that lovely sense of when we are in the middle of chaos or waiting for something important to happen, we can make every moment so important by seeing it as a moment of meditation, and by bringing the chant and the music of Tara and the essence of Tara into our senses, and in that place, being a Tara and sending that light and love. What better thing to do in the world? It felt very strongly an amazing bardo place, sitting amongst the Taras. So thank you to Noel and Parvati and to everybody in that space. And yes, it was a fantastic experience. Thanks so much, Prema, and everyone. See you next time, somewhere. All the best for Chile. That's me.
Thank you so much, Claire. Yeah, I know for Claire it's Monday at 11:30. Amazing, Claire and News. So everyone, please, with your hands in a cup, imagining the great gifts of our life, imagining the wonder and the beauty of it all, and offering it up, filling the sky, pouring the light down, and blessing the world. Om Ma. Om Ma. Om Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Josh, if you would like to unmute everybody in case they want to talk to each other. And I'm going to say, till the next time, beloveds, thank you so much for coming. It means so much to me to see all your beautiful faces. It just is thrilling. I just love it. So I will sort out my trajectory my next time and let you all know about it. And of course, just to remind you that for those of you who make donations, I will send you my notes. If you don't get them, write to me, because sometimes things get confused. And it's, the last bunch I didn't send yet. So I know I've got a few messages saying, where are they? They're coming. And yeah, trying to keep it all together. Love to you all. Love, love, love. Bye for now.